How my mother-in-law's scandalous wedding stunt backfired and ruined her own marriage. I never thought my wedding day would turn into such a dramatic spectacle, but here I am ready to share this wild story with you all. Picture this, a beautiful summer evening, fairy lights twinkling everywhere, and the soft murmur of happy guests enjoying our reception. My new husband Nick and I were living our dream moment. Well, at least until my mother-in-law Tina decided to crash our perfect day with her own special brand of crazy. Here I am, sitting in my cozy little home surrounded by Nick, my loving husband, and a whole lot of fairy lights because, you know, that's just what you do on a normal Monday evening. But I'm not here to talk about our mundane life. I'm here to relive the wildest adventure of my life, our wedding day, where things got bat-shiznit crazy. Let me paint a picture for you. It was a warm summer evening, the kind where the sun dips below the horizon and paints the sky with hues of pink and orange. The air was filled with the sweet scent of blooming flowers and the soft chirping of crickets, creating the perfect background melody. It was as if the universe decided to serenade our special day with an orchestra of happy vibes. My new husband Nick and I were literally living our dream moment, or so we thought. Now, picture your perfect day. Not just any day, but the day. The one where you say I do, surrounded by your loved ones, exchange vows, and seal your love with a passionate kiss in front of 100 smiling faces. That's exactly what we had planned. Until Tina, my beautiful but sassy mother-in-law, decided to bring her own special brand of chaos to the party. I mean, who does that? Who crashes a wedding, ruins the peace, and serves it all with a side of guilt trips and passive-aggressive behavior? My Tina, that's who. And let me tell you, that woman has some serious skills when it comes to making a mess. But before I get to the juicy part, let me give you some background on our beautiful yet crazy family dynamics. You see, Nick and Vicky were once the golden couple of our neighborhood. Yes, that Vicky, the one who decided to break his heart by cheating on him. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, it was a bitter taste, but one that I was silently grateful for. Who wouldn't want to date the guy of their dreams after all? Now, I'm not going to lie. Our story isn't your typical love-at-first-sight romance. We're not the Romeo and Juliet type, but hey, we might be the Nick and Nora type. Sassy, quirky, and perfectly imperfect. But I digress. You see, Tina just didn't get along with me, simply because I showed up and didn't go quietly into the night like she expected. She was convinced that Nick would come crawling back to Vicky if she just held on tight enough. Newsflash, Tina, our love story is one that unfolds on its own terms, not on yours. And so, on this magical day, with the fairy lights twinkling and the champagne flowing, our story took an unexpected turn. Just when we thought it couldn't get any crazier, Vicky walked in, courtesy Tina's master plan. Yeah, you guessed it, things just got real. Like, ridiculously, mind-blowingly real. Next thing you know, our lovely wedding day turned into an unexpected game of hot potato, and poor Nick got caught in the middle, trying to keep everyone from losing their minds. Ah, but that's a story for another time. Want to know the truth? I'm not sure if I'd change a thing. That crazy, unpredictable day turned me into the strong and sassy woman I am today. Well, almost. And so buckle up, folks, because we're about to dive into this crazy ride of a story, filled with drama, laughter, and a healthy dose of skepticism. It's going to be wild. Remember, our wedding day was only the beginning of this beautiful, crazy journey, and I'm excited to share the rest of it with you. Let me set the scene for you, folks. This is where the magic of Nick and Vicky's golden-cupped relationship comes alive. I like to think of it as the how far would you go to keep your high school sweetheart saga. Growing up, Nick was the king of Woodbridge High, star quarterback, debate team, and also the king of Vicky's heart. It was all romance and moonlight strolls by the lake. They were the couple that made everyone else's relationships look like they're cat and mouse playing hide and seek. But what really got me is that these high school sweethearts rode the long-distance roller coaster to nowhere. Yes, that's what it felt like every time they took breaks, broke up, and then miraculously rekindled their fairy tale love, only to put the whole complicated love story on repeat. Meanwhile, I'm still trying to find the perfect coffee spot. Fast forward through those years of longing for Nick, who I'm pretty sure isn't allergic to relationships as much as I am to casual dating. And we finally collided in college. Think hot clubs, beer pong tournaments, and conversations longer than Nick's attention span. That's where the sparks flew, folks. But of course, drama had a knack for sniffing us out. Tina had her nose pressed up against the window of our cozy student apartment, keeping an eagle eye on us as we started a whirlwind friendship. Things started getting entertaining when Nick and Vicky got back together, without really solving anything the first time. I'm pretty sure Vicky was just going through a mid-20s existential crisis. Then came Tina, Nick's mom, who had other plans for her son's life. You know, the plans that don't involve yours truly. It was all about recreating the Woodbridge High golden days with the original It couple. Problem was, it never actually happened. She kept pushing Nick to do one more favor for his dream team, one more reunion that they'd all agree on. Unfortunately, her definition of one more reunion was actually Nick moving to the countryside, aka the suburbs where everyone knows each other's business, get married to Vicky, welcome kids, and win some unspecified Best Husband award Tina so desperately wanted. I mean, who couldn't want that, right? If I'm being honest, I was rooting for more independence in life. Meanwhile, the storm was brewing inside our makeshift household. Secretly watching over me all those years, Nick's mom, Tina, waited patiently for Vicky to come back on the scene, ensuring someone who understood exactly how love and control should work would do the job right. Now back at Woodbridge High, their own happily ever after took a sudden knock, since marriage was already over. Around 18 years ago, Tina, queen of the drama-filled set, started orchestrating these beautiful life plans for her beloved Nick family. Now, I know what you're thinking, classic stepmom. Anyway, in a shocking turn of events, Nick found out Vicky cheated. This was basically years after the last reunion or so, he thought. Fast forward to me inviting Nick to a party at my place, and me finding him crying in my friend's bathroom, because everything came crashing down in just one conversation between him and Vicky. I thought to myself, well, this must have been part of high school, right? Well, history decides to rewrite itself when over the next few years you get the chance to meet high school legends, like Tina living through their lives in perfect sitcom-style scripts. As we said, it was only now, after years of college studying drama, Nick found out that a reality show sounds pretty real upon further investigation when it comes to real family life. Here is where I realize moving forward, with Nick by my side, is one of those brave adventures some people fear and others dance wildly around, celebrating the messy emotions a wonderful new marriage shares through pure laughter of past struggles faced and their eventual realization of all beautiful relationships are worth fighting for, only in some magical ways. As I stood at the altar ready to make my incredible journey with Nick begin in the beautiful outdoors by twinkling fairy lights, little did we know the fireworks show of epic proportion that was about to erupt. The moment Tina, my lovably awful mother-in-law, walked into the reception, everything took a wrong turn. Not that dramatic pauses in life weren't part of our couple's journey so far. I vividly recall the Tina, aka the Great Wedding Crash, putting on a smile that looked suspiciously genuine on the surface. This put me in major limbo, with an ominous air of foreboding following me into that very area. And just like clockwork, up walks my high school classmate turned slightly better acquaintance, who I remember at some point was most famously rumored for her unique talents of completely being oblivious of even the smallest details of another human's life. The Vicky we knew had one distinctive trait. She was either breaking off the relationship without a warning or completely falling out of character by willingly reuniting with the Nick to prove a rather futile point with some sort of overused logic even we barely grasped. Well, thanks to nothing but her so-called family ties forever theory. Throughout this long-distance roller coaster, we both had our many heartfelt, made-up, sweet gestures that set her up to remain on everyone's special occasions guest list. Our fairy tale wedding day, however, would remember this most peculiar union between these two perfectly matching chaos generators. And just as that movie scene unfolds where the stage was set right before the perfectly planned and thought of life turning into chaos, these long accustomed to standing behind one no matter who moment of truths unraveled with their most divine sense of timing, with a wave of cold beer and bursting laughter. It was clearly inevitable. Because really, what were the odds of anything having gone predictably? Chaos was clearly in the genes of these two, as much as drama ever held back. Vicky, my ex-wife's friends had somehow anticipated back in HS, also gets to inherit not just our friends and our friends' friends, but this totally off-kilter opportunity to become the second most critical step in taking up residence on my husband's family drama. By the looks on the faces of our guests witnessing such unique, bizarre scenery unfolding right before our eyes, I must say Nick and I played it off cool. Almost. But we both knew, for the next several months things would only escalate, this melodrama. And so our guests' mouths snapped shut with that feeling of there will always be drama with any given family that appears somewhere on down the line, until we leave on a very pretty, memorable day, which, however, had entirely hidden a greater narrative from a rather predictable one. Little did we know that within the next several minutes and hours, amidst all beauty that's on display, the main protagonists of our family drama stage would throw a bombshell at our meticulously scripted story, which not only turned our relationship upside down, but in fact became a huge character to my life's love lessons the teacher you least expected would teach you. Nick was furious. I've never seen him so angry. He confronted Tina right there at the reception, and let me tell you, it wasn't pretty. The following family gatherings, Arctic tundra levels of cold. Even Nick's dad, who usually stays out of drama, couldn't defend his wife's actions this time. The best part? All the relatives who used to side with Tina finally saw her true colors. Nothing like bringing your son's cheating ex to his wedding to show everyone what kind of person you really are. Here's where it gets really interesting. Tina's husband, my father-in-law James, had no idea she was planning this little surprise when he discovered that she'd been secretly meeting with Vicky for months. Planning this whole thing, something snapped. I'm still trying to piece together what happened, but all I know is that Tina's little surprise gift of bringing Vicky to our wedding was just the beginning of a beautifully dramatic story. The fallout from Tina's actions is still affecting my family, and I'm not just talking about the epic drama it caused. I'm talking about the silent war that's been brewing between Tina and her own husband, James. Apparently, James had no clue about Tina's little scheme. He thought they were happy, enjoying their 30 years together, and then, bam! He finds out that his wife of nearly 3 decades has been secretly meeting with Vicky for months, plotting to sabotage our wedding. And let me tell you, that man was furious. I'm told that when James confronted Tina, it was a jaw-dropping moment. The man was a picture of calm before, but afterwards, it was like a controlled experiment in unleashed emotion. The thought of Tina manipulating him all these years, it's like something out of a Shakespearean tragedy. James, being the calm and level-headed person he is, took this into his own hands and started investigating. Little did Tina know that her secrets were no longer secrets, and boy does James have some stories to tell. 30 years of marriage? More like 30 years of manipulation and control. Now imagine the whole family dynamics flipped on its head. James is like the exasperated parent who's finally realized they've been dealing with a toddler for 3 decades. Tina, on the other hand, is like that exasperated parent who refuses to take responsibility for their actions. Here's the best part. Tina's blaming it all on me. Me, the poor victim of her schemes. She's sending me messages, calling my phone, and even sending photos of Nick's childhood to guilt-trip me into helping her. It's like she thinks I'm the one who ruined her perfect little plans. Newsflash, Tina, you had one job, and that was to love and support your son. Instead, you chose to sabotage his wedding and hurt the people he cares about most. Your marriage was already on shaky ground, but this is a whole new level of messed up. I'm not gonna lie. It's hard to deal with Tina's constant guilt trips, but I'm not alone in this. Nick and I are in this together, and we're not going to let her toxic behavior bring us down. We're setting boundaries, and we're moving forward, drama-free. As for Tina, well, let's just say she's learned her lesson the hard way. Sometimes you need a good dose of karma to teach you who you are, and Tina got a heaping serving of that on our wedding day. James, on the other hand, is finally free from the toxic web Tina spun around him. He's starting to rebuild his life, and I have to commend him for that. Who knew 30-plus years of marriage could be such a beautiful, messy mess? All joking aside, the Tina and James drama has shown me that family dynamics can be complicated, but sometimes it takes a little chaos to bring the truth to light. I won't lie. Dealing with Tina after our wedding drama can be a real treat. I mean, who doesn't enjoy guilt trips from a lady trying to control everyone around her? I'm like a pro at ignoring her messages now, but the best part is how creative she gets. It's like she reads psychology books on effective manipulation techniques and then applies them in real life. Like, remember that time she sent a whopping 14 different pictures of Nick's childhood? I'm pretty sure I have a collection of infant baby pictures floating around in my inbox now. Play nice with mom? Remember when we used to play catch? Classic Tina. That's textbook play on emotions level stuff right there. But recently it escalated to epic levels. Now, every single phone call I make, even to my best friends about mundane stuff, is somehow connected to Tina. Like the other day, I was trying to plan a girls' trip to the beach, and Tina somehow managed to slide into our group chat. Hey, thought I'd remind you that today is Nick's birthday. Oh, right, 'cause I almost forgot. There was no message from her before that. No, hey, we gotta talk. Nope, just direct guilt trip action. Another master move involved an ancient ritual from my childhood. She must have found it online or something. Tina asked me to talk her through my childhood memories of mom baking cookies. Like, who does this, right? I mean, I'd be happy to walk down memory lane with her, but the minute she mentioned the phrase, "let's be grateful for mothers," I knew she was waiting for a moral revelation from me. Cue that cheesy violin music. No thanks, Tina. I'll pass. Last but not least, I got an eerie warning message from her aunt. Yep, that's a thing now. Stating that Tina has been really hurtful, but all she needs is for you to forgive her, and she'll become this completely loving, caring person again. And I'm like, that's what happens when you get possessed by 1,000 anime villains. You turn into the most dramatic person in existence. The rest is too difficult to explain. Making amends with the Tina school of guilt trippery. Eventually, I decided to do some investigating into these master manipulative tactics, just to understand why everything in Tina's reality revolves around psychological puppet control play now. She seems genuinely clueless on how human attachment and bonding work to actually get some emotional response out of me to this new motherly approach to guilt tripping. I asked Nick's school buddies to look into the subject a bit and get ready for emotional intervention by me. A research report was created with these new age tips, and at this instant, my emotional resilience got strengthened. It gave me a fresh understanding of her operating principles. Being nonlinear requires my assistance. All very well for psychology classes, but doesn't it feel more like playing chess while the opponent only lets pawns enter play? So am I going to help her? Let me think about that. Nope. Sometimes the best karma is letting people deal with the consequences of their own actions. Tina made her bed, and now she gets to lie in it. I'm living my best life, and it's all thanks to Tina, my lovely mother-in-law. I mean, who else could make me stronger, wiser, and more resilient all at once? But in all seriousness, dealing with her drama taught me a thing or two about setting boundaries and prioritizing what matters most in life. The day after the wedding, Nick and I sat down and had a heart-to-heart about what we wanted our life together to look like. We made a pact to focus on building our marriage and creating a happy home, free from the toxic drama that had been present in our lives for so long. Since then, we've been working hard to create a life filled with love, laughter, and adventure. We've been trying new hobbies together, like rock climbing and cooking classes. We've also been experimenting with new recipes and flavors in the kitchen, which has led to some interesting results. Let's just say our kitchen has been filled with the aroma of burnt offerings to the culinary gods. But the best part about this new chapter in our lives is that we've been doing it all together. We've been supporting each other through the ups and downs, and we've been growing as individuals and as a couple in ways we never thought possible. One of the funniest moments since our wedding was when Nick and I decided to try our hand at gardening. We bought a little plot of land and planted a whole bunch of seeds, thinking we'd be the next Willie Nelson and Rita Coolidge, you know, the ultimate rock star power couple. But little did we know, our green thumbs were more like brown sticks. We watered those seeds every day, sang little ditties to them, and even danced around the garden to jazz music, don't ask. But guess what? Not a single one of those seeds germinated. It was like they were allergic to us. We were laughing about it so hard that we ended up crying. It was a real tears of laughter moment. Nick and I looked at each other, holding our respective watering cans, and said, well, I guess we're not exactly the next Bob Ross and Steve Backshall just yet. We both let out a belly laugh and promptly decided to stick to our day jobs. Another hilarious moment was when I attempted to cook dinner for Nick's family. I made this intricate Vietnamese dish with a gazillion different spices and herbs, thinking it would be a hit. But what actually happened was that I set off the fire alarm and the whole kitchen filled with an unholy cloud of smoke. It was like a scene from Ratatouille, minus the charming French cat. Nick got home to find me stood in the kitchen, covered in flour and sweat, waving a fiery spatula like a sword in battle. He just looked at me, shook his head and said, "Sweetheart, I think you might need to stick to ordering takeout." And, let me tell you, I heartily agreed. These are just a couple of the many funny moments Nick and I have shared since the wedding. But what's most important is that we're learning to laugh together, to support each other, and to build a life that's filled with joy, love, and adventure. And to Tina, well, I just hope she's enjoying her 30-year marriage, because I'm clearly living my best life without her drama. But hey, who knows? Maybe one day she'll come crawling back, begging for forgiveness and offering to cook dinner for us. Can't wait. And hey, at least we got an unforgettable wedding story out of it. Remember, folks, sometimes the people who try to break you end up breaking themselves instead.